Welcome to the Millionaire Mindcast, where we broadcast weekly interviews with millionaire minds from across the globe to empower you on your journey of unlocking a rich and fulfilling life. It's time to unleash your millionaire within. Now, here's your host, Matty A.
What's going on, guys? I got a great show for you today on one of the biggest dream killers, one of the biggest goal murderers, procrastination. Being that so many of you have been reaching out to me on my texting line. If you haven't done that yet, be sure to hit me up at 844-447-1555 so we can connect directly. That's been one of the highlights of the show, getting to connect with so many of you guys and hearing all the amazing things that you guys are doing and pushing hard towards and unlocking and breaking through on, and just hearing how guests of this show have made a big impact and you being able to do that. Most importantly, I want to tip the hat to you guys for taking massive action. And one of the things that I've seen, really two parallels, talking with so many of you. And again, if you haven't texted me, if you haven't said what up, if you're new to the show, hit me up at 844-447-1555. Many of you are in massive momentum action-taking strides right now. And then many of you are in this information gathering stage and looking for the vehicle, the path, the vision, the purpose, the places of passion that you want to push into for taking that leap in your entrepreneurial journey. And many of you who are maybe just looking to level up and take that next step in your business and in your entrepreneurial vehicle. And I know that one of the biggest and most crippling things for many people is procrastination. And I am actually pulling a particular episode, one of our most downloaded episodes, out of the archives for you guys from my man, Petr Ludwig. And Peter is a keynote speaker. He's the founder of procrastination.com, a co-author of the best-selling book, The End of Procrastination, which went New York Times best-selling and really went viral. And he's one of these individuals who's just dedicated his life, his studies, his practice, and his mission to helping people overcome this habit of putting off very important tasks and responsibilities that will transform their income, their health, their business, their relationships, whatever it is that might be holding you back or that you know you're not taking those steps on. And so we are digging into Peter's episode here today. And if you haven't listened to this one yet, or even if you have, I highly recommend going and re-listening to it, because we talk about, number one, two main causes of procrastination and why people are procrastinating. He talks about this and really details out this idea of destructive procrastination and how that can really prevent you from ever getting and sustaining the results that you desire in your life. The difference between, having this idea of rest and actually recharging, and the lies that we tell ourselves that ultimately end up in procrastination, being lazy, right? How to decrease decision paralysis, the 4 key areas of ikigai that will help you live 5 to 10 years longer, social media ties to procrastination. Overall, just some amazing stuff in regards to how you can overcome this and just enhance your awareness when it comes to procrastinating. I do it still. I know you do it. Even peak performers and high achievers still struggle with procrastination, right? We're all human beings. So you guys are really going to enjoy today's episode. If you haven't headed over to go.millionairemindcast.com and entered our monthly giveaway, over $1,100 in prizes given away each and every month for free to one of our amazing listeners. We would love for you to enter that contest and get a chance at some of the planners, the courses, the books, the gift cards, the coaching calls and consultations with me, with our other wealth individuals that can support you on your business journey and your wealth building journey. So be sure to head over there, go.millionairemindcast.com. And again, if we're not connected yet, hit me up, whether that's on Instagram at officialmattia or just shoot me a text at 844-447-1555. One of the things that lights me up about this show is connecting with you guys and hearing all the amazing things that you guys are up to. And again, like, this is the platform and the opportunity. This is my call to action to say, get in my world, come connect with me. Let me help you. Let me support you. Let me, connect some dots or point you in the right direction with some resources or connect you with the right relationships. and I am offering that out to each and every one of you. So thanks for tuning in today. Let's continue this march to a million and beyond. We got some amazing guests coming up next week and moving forward, but I felt this was an episode that we really needed to bring out of the archives, and being that was one of our most downloaded ever, you guys are going to get some massive value. So let's dig into today's message right after this quick ad. Are you ready to quit talking about your real estate investing goals this year and start taking the necessary actions to make them a reality? If you're truly serious about leveraging the vehicle of real estate to build wealth, to generate passive income, to unlock financial freedom, then working with a coach is the missing link. If you want to avoid the mistakes that most people make, you want to accelerate getting the results, you want to shorten your learning curve without having to figure it all out on your own, then sign up for a free discovery call with me today to discuss how I can help you getting there. You can do that by texting the word mentor to 844-447-1555 to set up a call time directly with me. I will be working with a few committed investors, serious investors who are ready to take their real estate investing goals to the next level this year by giving them complete access to myself, my team, my network, my resources, and all of my business systems. And if this is something that you are interested in, don't wait. Set up a call today. Text the word mentor to 844-447-1555. Welcome into the Millionaire Mindcast. I've got an amazing guest for you guys today. And as always, this episode is brought to you by the Rich Life Academy, the online curriculum community and mastermind for hard-charging entrepreneurs and whole life millionaires. Today's guest is Petr Ludwig. Petr is a keynote speaker. He is an author of the best-selling book, The End of Procrastination, a book dedicated to overcoming the habit of putting off tasks and responsibilities. I think this is something many of us can relate to, and probably something that prevents and holds a lot of people back from really achieving their optimal results or their optimal self. So welcome into the show today, Mr. Petr Ludwig. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, it's amazing to be here, and I'm very looking forward to our discussion today.
So we were just talking. You're kind of all bouncing around all over the world right now. You're in Prague right now. You're back and forth between New York City, and obviously you've got a lot going on. So what is going on in your world right now? What's new? What's new for you?
Yeah, I have a team in Prague and team in New York, so I'm going between those two cities. And for me, I'm trying to do as much keynotes and talks as I can. So last month I had 19 talks. So it was amazing, one of the best months of my life. And I'm trying to spread my message, how to fight procrastination, how to find meaning at work, how to be more productive, but at the end, happier.
And you have obviously built some amazing big businesses, and obviously keeping people productive and effective and efficient in their kind of daily activities is a very key part of business. It's a key part of life, a key part of feeling fulfilled and challenged and growing. What led you into this topic and kind of, one, researching it, and then two, positioning yourself as a subject matter expert on it?
Right. I started my business when I was 18 years old. So it was like 13, 14 years ago. And during that time, we had a small company and we focused on software development. And I had a team of 5 to 10 people. And our average, everyone was quite young. Our average age was around 20, 25. And all my colleagues were procrastinating a lot. So me as a founder, as a manager, I tried to find a way how to fight procrastination, because it was killing our business those 12 years ago. And since then, I realized that not only me having the same problem, but other companies are having the same problem too. So I started my consulting business. It was like 10 years ago. And since then, it's growing exponentially. Like procrastination is much more topic of today than it was, for example, 5 to 10 years ago, because we have social media, we have Netflix, YouTube, and we are distracted all the time. So fighting procrastination to me is one of key skills of people living in 21st century.
And we talk a lot about obviously living a rich life on this podcast and living intentionally in all areas of your life. And a lot of people, I think, are impacted by procrastination, and really that can show up in your work life, in your personal life, relationships, health.
So I
Right.
want to dig into this topic today and kind of peel back the layers of this procrastination onion, if you'll call it that, with you, and really want to start based on your perspective of what is procrastination as it relates to today in the 21st modern century.
Right. I think basically there are two main causes of procrastination. First is lack of meaning, lack of life vision. And this is quite usual. Like people are working in big corporations, they are working on projects, but they don't see any like meaningful outcomes of what they are doing. So one of the reasons of growing depression in Western world is lack of meaning at work. So that's the first cause of procrastination. If you are working on something and you don't see any values and you don't see any meaningful outcomes of that, you just procrastinate it. And the second cause of procrastination is lack of willpower. We often know what to do. For example, we set our New Year's resolutions, but at the end we are unable to really push ourselves to really start to do something. So we are unable to change our habits because of that, the fact that we are always having a very low willpower. So first is purpose and second is willpower. Those are two main causes.
So then if somebody's going, I know I'm a procrastinator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard that there's actually, I've heard a couple people classify different types of procrastination. Is that true? Or what are your thoughts on kind of the different categories, I guess, of procrastination?
Yeah, that's more pop science than science. There is a lot of real science in procrastination. There is a huge meta-analysis that is showing that the key of procrastination is lack of self-regulation. Basically, it is about that you have negative emotion, you have aversion to some task, and you are unable to overcome your negative feelings. So it's all about emotions and about ability to regulate your emotions. For example, if you have a huge task and you divided that huge task into smaller pieces, then your negative emotion is much lower and it's much easier to really start. So it's about regulating your own emotions.
Yeah, I've heard of it and kind of classified in different ways, right? Of kind of it's our coping mechanism for stress management, right? When we want to avoid those things that we know need to get done, maybe in a specific timeline, or you got a project that's coming up that you got to hit a deadline on, right? And you choose not to do it. That's more of that destructive procrastination. Is there any positives to procrastination? Anything productive about procrastinating?
That's a great question. Sometimes you need some time for thinking about some ideas. You need to let's say to cultivate your ideas, like incubate them. So sometimes it's not device's idea to start directly. You need some time for thinking. So this is kind of productive procrastination, but from the definition, the word procrastination is always about negative feelings. So if you are having a rest, if you are, for example, working whole day and then you watch a movie, it's not procrastination, it's having a rest. So that's a huge difference between having a rest and do procrastination, because procrastination is often before work and having a rest is after work. So that's one of important difference. And it's very different being lazy and to procrastinate, because lazy people, they just don't want to do nothing. But procrastinators, they know what to do. They really want to, for example, start running tomorrow, but they are unable to push themselves, and they are unable to somehow change their behavior. So I think that there is something like good procrastination. Everyone is procrastinating time to time, but what is important to decrease the level of procrastination in what is important. For example, if I want to start my own business and I procrastinate, that's definitely not a good one.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know if I was telling myself a lie or a story, or if there is actually some thing that is productive, right? With procrastination, for example, like writing, my book. Sometimes I find that I procrastinate a lot, and yet during that creative process, when I give myself a little bit more time, sometimes I fill that time with, the creative processes, and I add value, and I get a little bit more organized and clear on ultimately, right, getting closer to where I want it to be. But, sometimes you don't know, right? Am I telling myself a lie or not? But in regards to whether somebody wants to start writing a book and they know they need to do X, Y, and Z, or they want to start running, but maybe they're more along the lines of that destructive procrastination and not necessarily taking the actions that they should be taking. How does somebody go and attack, stopping this habit of procrastination?
I think that what is very important to have a good plan. For example, in my book, I describe that you can use a mind map for planning each day. And the mind map is very useful because it's much better than just a bucket list. Because if you have a list of tasks, you are often overwhelmed by what is called decision paralysis. Like, more tasks you have, the more difficult it is to choose which you want to start with. So I really tell my clients to try a mind map, to plan each day alone. So in the morning, you just start with a blank piece of paper and you try to only focus on few priorities, and you try to divide the big task into smaller ones. And at the end, you have a plan as a visual mind map, and it really decreases the decision paralysis, because then during the day, you don't need to think what to do. You just follow the plan. It's like a roadmap. And I discussed this with a lot of my clients, and they describe the effect of that they can do 2-3 times more tasks daily, but at the end, they are much more happy because they are not like workaholics, because they are able to focus on what is important, but what is important is to have a rest. So I always tell them to add there some activities for having a rest. For example, you work on one task for 1 hour, then you have a short walk for 5 minutes around the block of buildings, then you work for another hour, and at the end you feel much more productive, because you have a great plan and you rest during the day, and at the end you are much happier. So this is my one of key tools I'm teaching.
What are some of the other key tools that you find people are needing to be aware of, but maybe aren't necessarily putting their finger on, that could really serve them if they brought some awareness to some of these concepts or ideas that you talk about in your amazing book?
Right. The first key tool of the book is personal vision, to really test yourself in terms of your strengths and ask yourself what is meaning of what you are doing. And combination between strengths and meaning, it leads to what is called in psychology state of flow. So state of flow is the situation where you are doing something, time stops for you, and you feel energized and you feel positive emotions. So procrastination is just the exact opposite of flow. And personal vision, if it's built in the right way, it really creates a state of flow on a daily basis. For example, in my personal vision, I have some key values for me, and one is, for example, critical thinking. And if I'm helping people with critical thinking, at the end, I feel that I changed the world a little bit. So focusing on the others is much more important to be just selfish. And that's why it's very important to write down your personal vision and ask yourself how you can contribute to society.
I love that. And having clarity is a big piece of kind of any successful equation, I feel like, right? Because it's ultimately what allows you to be pulled in a specific direction, to avoid going off track, because you kind of have that North Star, right? And how do you help somebody get clarity in what their vision is? Where do they start with that?
I really love the Japanese concept of ikigai. You maybe heard about that. It's a amazing concept of the island of Okinawa. And I was there. I was in Okinawa 2 years ago. And Okinawa is famous about the fact that they have the longest average lifespan in the world. And they made a long-term study why they live approximately 5 to 10 years longer than we live in the Western world. And the outcome was what a Japanese call ikigai. It can be translated as a long life purpose or reason for getting up in the morning. And basically, Japanese, they describe ikigai as a combination between 4 key areas. First area is to find your strengths and try to apply them daily. Second key area of ikigai is to do things that you really enjoy. So positive emotions are very important. Someone likes squash, someone likes playing football. What makes you happy is very important. And the third part of ikigai is to focus on some contribution for society. So that's the part of purpose. And the last part, and very important, is money. Focus on what you can get paid for. So if you find a combination between those 4 key areas, you do something meaningful, you deploy your strengths daily, you feel positive emotions, and you get money out of that. At the end, it's the best what you can do, and you live 5 to 10 years longer. So I think that ikigai is a very key concept, and I want to write another book about that because I really believe that this concept can really change the Western world a lot, because in Japan it works, so it should work even in the US.
Have you read the book Blue Zones?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That was.
That's why I went to Japan, because I read the book and I want to see those old people. And it's right. It's true. When I arrived in Naha, that is capital of Okinawa, I went to a supermarket and I saw there like average age of people there was around 90. So it was incredible. It was a market inside capital city of Naha. And I took up pictures of a lot of people that they are very, very old, but they were smiling much more than we smile.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know when I read that book as well, it's interesting how, in different areas around the world, and obviously there's certain areas that have more of these, kind of centimillionaires or individuals who have lived beyond 100 years old, and kind of the habits and disciplines and mindset and environment that they create for themselves, and how really there was this common thread amongst all of them. I just thought it was very interesting to see how, when you strip it all down, right, there are these common kind of core pillars and principles that these individuals lived by. So there's definitely a formula to it, right? And in regards to this, and a lot of that I saw was more Eastern practices as well, and not so Western. I'm curious on kind of some of do you see Eastern versus Western individuals procrastinating more or less, and how that kind of impacts them and their life's journey or their business journey? Or is this just something that if you're a human being, you deal with this on a daily basis?
That's a great question, because last 6 years I had an opportunity to live even in Japan. So I spent a lot of time in Japan. My book was published there in Tokyo. And I think that the Japanese culture is quite different than the culture in the US in terms of productivity. But what is important is that sometimes I feel that working in big Japanese corporation is much, much worse than working in a corporation in the US, because their productivity level is higher and their stress level is higher. So I think that we need to just grab some parts of Japanese culture, but not to deploy everything, because what I really love is small villages. If I visit some tea farms, I really connect with people there, but I don't love corporate Tokyo. It's crazy. Yeah, they have only one week off, only 1 week vacation, and usually they work in the same company whole year. And I think that this productivity style is killing them slowly. So there's a huge difference between Tokyo and Okinawa.
Right. It's what's the word? It's what karoshi, right? Which
Yeah,
literally
right, right.
translates to
Mm.
overworking yourself to death, which is a real problem. So obviously having that balance is key. And I'm curious to know, why did you write this book specifically on procrastination? What was kind of the purpose or the intention behind it? What did you hope the outcome would be by sharing this information with the world?
Yeah, I saw that a lot of my friends and a lot of my clients, they have great struggles of finding something that they really love and they really want to do. For example, I do a lot of trainings and workshops for students, and you really see that even if they are studying best universities, they just don't feel connected with the subjects that they are studying. So, and I had a very important moment in my life. It was when I was around 19 years old, and I experienced what is called near-death experience. I was playing basketball, and something crazy went very wrong in my brain, and I experienced paralysis of my right half of my body. And I was in the hospital. I was lying in bed, and I felt that I'm dying. I was facing my own death, and it really changed my life. I survived it. After 2-3 days, everything went back to the normal, but this situation changed my values a lot. Since then, I'm trying to live every day to the fullest, and I'm trying to only focus on what is important. And I wrote myself, I marked down after that event that I really want to live my life to the fullest. And then I realized that I have very bad enemy, that is procrastination, because it's just the opposite of living your life to the fullest. So, and I started to read articles and research about procrastination, and I realized that our life is very short. Yeah? We were born in one moment, and the destiny we are all are sharing is that our life will end somewhere in the future, and we have time that is both limited and finite. And to find really what to focus on, to really find a purpose of our life is a key to fight procrastination. And I think that we can really live in a much better world if people will do what is important to them and live according to their values, and have courage to, for example, start their own businesses, start to do things that are important for them, and so on. So my near-death experience changed my life, and I think that you don't need to experience the same to change your life. I think that you can read my book, or you can really think about the value of time, and at the end you realize that procrastination is something that is terribly, terribly bad.
Yeah, and you kind of talked a little bit about procrastination, and this is one thing that I've talked about kind of with some of the people that I consult with, and just, reminders that I try and tell myself is, when we procrastinate, it's essentially us going against what we know we should be doing, or what we're telling ourselves needs to be done, and not following through with that. We're essentially we're planting seeds in our subconscious mind that we don't necessarily have the ability to follow through on our word and the things that we know we need to do. And I'm a big believer that self-confidence is really the habit of keeping promises to yourself and following through on your word, right? And
it's a great definition of self-confidence. Thank you. I really love this one.
Yeah. And I find that I feel way more respect for myself, way more confidence within myself when I follow through on the things that I know I need to do, even though they're freaking hard sometimes, or it's shit that I don't want to do, or it's stuff that I don't want to follow through on. But when I follow through on it and I look back, I have this, this newfound confidence, right? That I can do the things that I don't always want to do. And on the alternative, right, you probably have seen and researched and interviewed and studied a lot of people that deal with the opposite, right? Where they know they need to do these things. They know they have said something, and then they don't follow through on it. And it becomes kind of this negative habit loop and stacking on top of each other. And I believe mental health is a really big topic right now that a lot of us struggle with. And I know it ties into your research. What has your kind of research uncovered around this tie to procrastination and mental health, and how are you navigating that landscape right now?
There is a lot of data that procrastination is connected to anxieties and depression, and there is it's like feedback loop, because more you procrastinate, less you believe in yourself, and your self-esteem goes down, and the higher chance is the chance that you procrastinate even more. So it's like a feedback loop that reinforces itself, and it has a lot of do with what is called learned helplessness. More you fail, bigger is the chance you fail even in the future. And it's very sad, because even one failure can really undermine your productivity, because you fail and your mood goes down. And when your mood is down, you are unable to push yourself to do another task, so you fail with the second task, and it really rolls, and it's very dangerous in terms of mental health. And another important research is on social media. Now we know that the more you are on social media, for example, Instagram seems to be the worst. So more you use social media, more you are comparing yourself with the others, and at the end, you have higher chance of anxieties and depression too. And social media often drives our attention out of what is important, and we spend a lot of hours daily on just fighting some social game. But no, to win that social game is too important to switch off the social media and do something important. For example, write a book, write an article, shoot a video. But social media often is just a place when we are wasting our time, and at the end we are procrastinating more, and we have more anxieties and depression. So it's very connected. And but positive, the positive side of that is that we now know that if you stick to your habits, for example, if you start a day with a cold shower, then you exercise, then you plan your day, and you just focus on your priorities, and at the end it's the key for happiness. I don't believe that some material things leads to happiness. If I bought a new car last year, and well, I was happy the first day, but after 2-3 weeks I just realized that it's normal. Yeah, I get used to that. But if I live every day to the fullest, if I really doing things that are very, very important to me, at the end of the day, I'm much more happier than I was when I bought my new car. So I really believe that happiness is kind of road more than reaching a goal. And happiness is about overcome your procrastination, because it's just the opposite. If you procrastinate, you cannot be happy. If you are productive and you are focusing on what is important, at the end you can be proud of yourself, and you have much more dopamine and serotonin in your brain, and you feel fulfilled.
I love what you kind of correlated those two things together, and I believe you said a key word there that I believe is so important, and I think this ties in specifically to what you're talking to in your research around procrastination, which is obviously having the right habits or the right routines. And you talked a little bit about that, because I'm a big believer in habits and routines, and I get a lot of people that say, it's too rigid, or it boxes me in, right? It takes away from the joy or the spontaneity of life, And I always tell people, you don't have to choose between building the right habits and following the right routines and attaining freedom. Habits don't really restrict your freedom. Routines don't restrict your freedom. They actually create it. And I'm curious, because I usually see it's the people who don't have their habits dialed in, and don't have their disciplines dialed in, and don't have the routines dialed in, that are generally the people who don't have freedom. Or maybe, I'm sure you see there's certain people that are missing things, whether it's in their routine or their habits or their environment, that are maybe more likely to be procrastinators than not. What are some of the things that you see the highly, highly productive people doing consistently, whether it's in their routines or their habits, that, I'm sure they face those moments of feeling like they want to procrastinate and yet they power through it? What are some of those things that others can pull from maybe into their own experience or journey?
Yeah. I want to start with one research. We now have a data from research with identical twins. And we know that if those twins were raised in different families, they have a different level of willpower. So willpower is not inborn. It's something that you can teach during your life. And we now know that the best way how to boost your willpower are really habits. Do something daily. And if you do, for example, 20 push-ups daily, and if I measure your muscles, obviously your muscles grow daily. But if I scan your brain on a brain scan on an fMRI, you see that then the part of the brain, the part of prefrontal cortex grows too, because brain is it has the capacity of neuroplasticity, and it means that you can really train and improve your brain as you can improve your muscles. So I really believe that the only way to fight procrastination are habits, daily routines. And I have a special tool for that that is called Habit List. And it's a simple table. You can use your, you can use a paper, you can use your Excel, you can use whatever. There are many, many habit trackers, apps, but it's not important. What is important to have a system. And for example, I start every day with a cold shower, and I love it because it's great beginning of the day, because you know that you overcome yourself, and the higher chance that you overcome yourself in a different domains during the day too. So what I realized that all successful people, they had their habits, and mostly, and we know that from science too, it's about exercise. Like really try to do something daily, and it's not necessary to go running 5 miles. What is important is, for example, 5 to 10 minutes in the morning to boost your cardiovascular system and to boost your willpower. So for me, it's like start with a cold shower, then 5 to 10 minutes of exercise. Then I have my special routine of my morning green tea that is from Japan. So it's my special morning routine. And what I really want to do daily is also to somehow improve myself. So every day I want to do something that I overcome myself, to step out of my comfort zone. For example, to write an article that I'm postponing, or to, I don't know, call some old friend that I was forget about, and so on. So for me, what is important is to set every day one simple task that is outside of your comfort zone. And if you make a habit out of that, your willpower is growing gradually and constantly. And after 2-3 weeks, you really feel differences. You are able to resist temptations. You are able to not to check your Instagram and Facebook that often, and you really feel that your willpower is growing. So 2-3 weeks are the amount of time that you really can see a difference. If you do 20 push-ups, if you are overcoming yourself with some special task daily.
Yeah, I've kind of subscribed to this mentality as well, of on the stuff that I usually don't want to do the most is the stuff that I force myself and commit to doing first each day. And that was taught to me by one of my early mentors, of like, eat that frog.
Eat that frog,
right? Eat the thing that you don't want to do first. And by doing that, like you said, right, you strengthen that willpower, that confidence, and everything beyond that for the rest of the day is kind of downhill, right? And just in general, I think it's really important to follow through on the things you need to do, talking about, what we said a little bit ago in regards to building that self-confidence through those habits, and by following through on your word, right? And having that integrity translates to many other aspects of your life as well. And kind of reframing your mindset around some of those things sounds to be what a lot of your book talks about, right? Of at least, kind of retraining the subconscious and the conscious, because right? The way you program your mind obviously leads you to consciously thinking about it in a specific way, which then gets you taking a specific action, a specific result, and then obviously that reaffirms your programming. So is it as simple as starting to rewire your brain and pair it with the right habits? Or what is kind of the formula for overcoming procrastination?
Well, let me summarize that. I have 4 key tools because I really believe in practical tools. If you read a book without tools, you just feel happy, but at the end you change nothing. So I really believe in practical tools. First practical tool is what we discuss is personal vision, to really realize what is important, what is meaning of your work, and what are your strengths and values. That's the first tool. Second tool is the habit list, to really set habits on daily basis and set habits that are aligned with your personal vision. So that's why the vision is the first, then the habit list. The third key tool is the mind map of that I call To Do Today. It's a visual, as I described, the visual plan of the day that helps you to divide big tasks into smaller ones and is helping you with fighting decision paralysis. And the last, fourth tool is what I call in the book little heroism. And basically it's the ability to act in the right moment. Japanese samurais, you definitely know this, had a rule of 3 heartbeats, 3, 2, 1, and do that. So sometimes 5 heartbeats, doesn't matter. But what matters is that we really need to know how to do something when it's the right moment. For example, today I want to go running, and I know that I can postpone that for half an hour, another hour. But if I know this technique, the little heroism, it's like I tell myself, heroes, they act 3, 2, 1, and I just go out and run there. So basically those 4 tools can be summarized by my favorite quote. It's a Japanese proverb that follows like this: vision without action is a daydream, and action without vision is a nightmare. So basically we need both: vision, realize what is important, and then action, habits, and priorities. And I really believe that the system at the end is very simple, but it's simple, but it's not easy to follow that. So but I have a lot of stories. For example, last week I had a talk for 800 people, and at the end there was a guy came to me, and he had a lot of tattoos even on his face, and he told me that he was on drugs many years, and then he read my book, and it changed his life, and he stopped, and he is now working on some new projects, and he told me that it changed his life. And after 1 minute, a lady came to me, and she told me that she's now studying PhD, and she came up with her vision, and that the book changed her life. And at the end, I realized that that's why I'm doing these things. And that's why I moved to US, because I believe that there can be more stories like that. People that change their habits and start to do something meaningful and work on their procrastination, and at the end they are happier. And I believe that if you are happier, you live much fulfilled and longer life.
So as we kind of come to the conclusion of the episode, because I got a final question for you, I want to make sure that for anybody that's listening that wants to read Peter's book, we're going to put that link in the show notes and the show description below. So be sure to head over to millionairemindcast.com and grab that link. But if they want to know more about your work and follow what you're up to, I know you have procrastination.com as well as other platforms. Where can they find you? Where can they follow more of what you're up to? Or I know you're speaking 100+ times per year. So if they want to see you speak, they want to follow you on social media, what's the best place for them to do that on?
Yeah, everywhere. As you said, social media at Petr Ludwig. I'm on Instagram, definitely. So you can follow me on Instagram. And what is very important to me is to spread my message on YouTube. I have my new podcast that is called Deep Talks. In my country, in Prague, it's one of the most viewed podcasts, but in the US, it's nothing because I started a few months ago. So, but the name is Deep Talks, and my guests are super interesting people. Last week, I had Ola Rosling, who's the co-author of Factfulness, the best-selling book, and the discussion was amazing. So, that's the first social media, second YouTube and my podcast, and of course the book and the domain procrastination.com. I bought the domain. that was fun because it was super expensive. But
I was gonna say, how much did you buy it for? If you're willing to share.
Yeah, I think that it was more than $50,000.
Yeah.
So.
And what did you just buy it because you wanted your brand to be all congruent and aligned?
I really believe in simplicity. So what is the better brand for fighting procrastination than procrastination.com? So
you said it, man. Well done there. So as we wrap up, for the individuals that are listening right now, and I'm one of them, right, that are going, man, I need to procrastinate less. I know that if I'm going to be the most optimized version of myself, if I'm going to optimize my results in my business, in my investments, in my relationships, and my health, I need to make sure that I minimize or limit the amount of time that I find myself procrastinating in order to reach and design and live my greatest, my most rich, my most fulfilling life. What do you leave them with as you kind of give that final punch on your keynote to thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that you talk to every single year? What do you leave them with to take away and hit the ground running on?
Well, it's a hope because you can change yourself, and willpower works like muscle. So you really can decrease your procrastination up to 80-90%. And the hope is the best because it's not about our genes, it's about our habits. So for me, this is the best news for everyone, that you really can change yourself, and at the end you can really live life to the fullest.
Peter, it's been a pleasure interviewing you today, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I just want to give my gratitude to you for, one, just taking the time out of your busy schedule, two, for writing a book and sharing all the amazing research and content, and just your passion and your drive for, serving others and helping them, optimize their life, their results, their mind, their body, their spirit. There are many, I would say, messengers out there. There aren't many messengers living their message at the highest level. And so I appreciate your congruency of how you not only practice what you preach, right, but you have all of the resources, tools, and support to help others do the same for themselves. So thank you for being on the show. And for those that enjoyed this episode, be sure to tag Peter and myself on social media, share something that you really enjoyed from this interview today. Most importantly, take something from this interview and implement it. And until next episode, keep investing in yourself and your wealth on your march to $1 million and beyond. Cheers.
Thank you, Matt. Bye.